And what else you want? A benefit you're not paying for. In the world where you still you must pay for everything. Now, your banking transactions gone up by 0.5%. Well, there are no little favors, so behold this favor that I bring to you. In the person of Dr. Patrick Ijewere, he was here last week, and he did promise that he would be here again, and he is. So, if you have all the health questions regarding wellness, yes, I think that's the active word, wellness. So there is sickness, and then there's medicine. And it seems to be like those are the most functional words that you use. And last week we tried to describe sickness in order to understand it, because until you understand sickness, how can you approach healing? And your aim should be healing, not the management of the sickness. The world is already trying to help you manage the sickness with everything else going on and your money in the game. So maybe if you understood what sickness truly is, then maybe you would be capable of addressing it in a way that you are healed, so that your money, your hard-earned money, is not going. Well, look, I think doctors should make money, but on the serious stuff, on the little things that you can manage, it doesn't. I think it's stupid to be incapable of managing it. That you allow yourself into the hands of the medical world. When, a herb and that herb can fix it, when that rest and this multivitamin can correct it. Lagos, welcome to 99.3 Ijewere Info, the sunny side. My name's Joyce. The sun rises here, and it rises in our collective consciousness on what we must know. And it's not just knowing, is to know to do. And it is, again, with all the pleasure that breathes within the four walls of the studio, I welcome Dr. Patrick Ijewere. Thank you very much, sir, for being here again.
Good afternoon, Joyce.
Afternoon to you. Look, I'm so excited that you are here, and I thank you very much for honoring this invitation.
Thank you.
Good. Lagos, Nigeria, I'm going to begin. I am the host. What did you expect? Sir, last week I had a number of questions I couldn't ask you. Last week, Lagos had questions that would probably require you to write a book. But we're going to manage time and see how much we can get out and to you, and hopefully you can give answers to. First, I want to talk about something that's very common. Hormones. The changing hormone. I think it happens in adults generally. But in women, there's this thing with... Women talk about it a lot. And maybe it's also the whole situation of giving birth. Your body changes, and I don't even know what else happens in between. And so you see women tend to start adding weight after a said age. I don't even think women understand what's happening to them. I think they just probably think, well, it's old age. We're more sedentary. We don't do a lot of physical work anymore like in the days of our youth. And so it seems, or at least it would appear to be the answer to the question of trying to manage weight. I think there are a handful of women who would love to lose weight. But there is the difficulty of understanding what to eat. I mean, first, there's the difficulty of going to the gym, because they go to the gym and they never really lose the weight. And then they're like, well, I want to lose it, but what should I eat? And then someone says, well, eat vegetables. I'm like, well, that's a boring life. I'm not dying tomorrow. Just eating vegetables, whatever happens to the fufu, the pounded yam, the amala, and that fish. And, they want to still live life, but not add all that weight. But I think for me, the fundamental objection here, or objective, would be hormone. Is there something we need to understand about Look, I would say hormone in men and women, but honestly, I think I'm just speaking for the women. I'm a woman, and I fear that, if I get a little older, I'm 5'2". I do not have the luxury of adding weight. First of all, I don't want to be a ball, and if I dare add weight, that's exactly what I'm going to be. So, I want to know, maybe I'm even asking for me. Who knows? I'd love for you to speak on that.
Thank you, Joyce. Talking on hormones, let's take a step back.
Okay.
And put it in the larger context. Hormone are these inside endogenous substances that we make within. So they are part of the awesome design of the human body. They serve a function.
Okay.
And science has classified hormones into all kinds of categories. Anabolic ones, catabolic ones, the ones that are important for glucose, so many of them. The point here is they're part of this holistic total system that keeps the body in wellness, part of the grand design, God's design. All right. Now, too often we point to hormones when certain ailments show up, such as obesity. But truly, there are many other factors that influence the hormones or that influence the weight gain and the weight retention. Let me go back to a picture, a mental picture. If anyone can just picture a tree, or you can draw a tree with 5 roots. And I touched on the 5 roots briefly last week: spirituality, mindset, nutrition, lifestyle, and environment. These 5 roots play into our challenges or ailments of today, including the obesity challenge we're facing. Okay? Now, let's take a second perspective and let's look at cultures or groups where obesity isn't an issue. Southeast Asia. Our great-grandparents. There was a study conducted by National Geographic magazine back in 2004 called the Human Longevity. That was another one. They did a study, but looked at cultures around the world and see who has the least health problems, who lives the longest. And interestingly, in these 5 locations where they found people who have the least health challenges and live the longest, obesity was far from it, was totally outside the norm for these communities. Likewise, look at some of the publications by some of our books from the 40s, 50s, 60s, where people went to look at indigenous cultures and...
Okay, if you could just put it away, because it's interrupting. Maybe put it like in your pocket or on the chair besides you. Yeah, if that would, because that would help, because now I can't hear it anymore. It's not me, it's not you. It's Doctor. 99.3 Nigeria Info, the sunny side. So Doc is trying to give us utmost attention, and he'll need a minute to put his house in order and then do that. Well, look, while he's at it, if you missed last week's edition of radio, it's on YouTube, it's on Facebook. You need to watch it because you missed. And if you didn't miss it, watch it again so you know what questions apply to you. Today, if you have any questions for Dr. Patrick Ijewere, you should be sending them in right about now, because I would ask them, as the conversation moves along. So, sir, pardon me. Go ahead.
All right. So, in those cultures, you find obesity is literally outside the picture.
Now that's worse. Can doctors' patients please wait? I'm sure you can hear it, right? Good. So can we just put it like on airplane mode? Just all phones, airplane mode, please? That would work. Now it's disappeared. You see that? Airplane mode. So Doc, you continue speaking if she can. Can you do that? Okay, good. Sir.
Okay. And if you look at those cultures, there's several threads in those cultures.
Yeah.
Daily physical activity.
Daily?
Foods that are close to the earth. Real foods.
Okay.
Social interaction. Meaningful social interactions. Spirituality. And they were always active. For example, folks in northern Italy, these men in their 80s and 90s are still walking up and down the hills.
In fact, there's a community in Italy, like a village, where people live 100 and above.
Yes. Without medications.
Without medication.
The folks in Okinawa, Japan.
Japan.
My goodness. They're still fishing. They're still walking long distances. They're still playing Sudoku. They're still playing word games at age 90 and 100. Slim. The folks in Loma Linda, California, very active physically, still swimming, still cycling. Folks in South America, we see this trend. So, one of the factors that showed up was this thing we call chair.
Okay.
In parts of South America, the ancient people haven't adopted Western lifestyles. The chair is absent. It's not part of their cultural design. So they sit either on the floor or they squat. When we sit down for long hours, we literally shut down our fat burning system and we accumulate fat. Around the liver, abdomen, and cities, the major affliction in the urban areas. We see today with middle-aged folks who are showing obesity. Some folks are even slim, and exteriorly, when you do an ultrasound of the abdomen, you see fatty liver. Where's the fat coming from? Outward looking slim, but internally they're accumulating unhealthy fat in the visceral and around the liver arena. All these play into the hormonal system. The stress factor plays into fat accumulation and also into the hormonal system.
Yeah.
We have that stress hormone, cortisol, that loves to do what? Help us accumulate fat in all our tissues in the body. We talk about our social behavior. Yes, the alcohol, the excessive eating that we do today, and our choice of nutrition, which unfortunately tends to be nutrition that is devoid of what the body needs to burn it up. And so the brain doesn't get the signals that food is enough or you've eaten enough, the satiety signals. Hence, we tend to overconsume. And we tend to consume those things that make us feel good, that give us pleasure, the carbohydrates, the high fats, the high sugar foods. So all this add up into the obesity challenge we're facing. Hormones are part of this larger landscape. Yes, they play a role in weight issues, but they're one of several other factors.
Okay. Now, that's a good head start, because I must ask you a question that pretty much furthers your thinking on, or your judgment on the matter. Good cholesterol, bad cholesterol. There's been a misunderstanding, I would think. So I forwarded a message to you, because right now while you were speaking, I was looking for that message I forwarded to you. I was telling, my listeners about, well, I came up with an idea because I started lately using peanut oil, which is granite oil, but it was just basically peanut pressed oil, as against going to the supermarket buying your usual branded granite oils and using. And I realized that given that we grow granite in Nigeria, there should be more of that on shelves. And I think the prices would be even more affordable than what we have today on shelves. And so I thought, well, what if we had like a community come together to work on an idea like that, where you get the benefit of peanut in the oil, and it's not processed, it's just peanuts grown, dried, pressed, oil, finish. And someone sent a message saying that I found the message. Joyce, we should not even encourage vegetable oils or granite oils because most of them contain cholesterol, which has been linked to high blood pressure, stroke, and some cancers. People should use soya oil, olive oil, and other options that do not contain any cholesterol. This is the basic cause of sickness most people get, especially when you are above 30. And this is a gentleman, David. And I forwarded the message to you because I thought that there was, at least between his understanding and my understanding, I thought he misunderstood the good cholesterol game and the bad cholesterol game. And he thought peanut oil is bad cholesterol. And I don't agree. So you are going to be our yardstick here in fully comprehending and measuring what is good and bad cholesterol.
Okay. So there are two questions here.
Yeah.
One on the cholesterol and one on the peanut oil being a healthy oil.
Yeah.
Let's take cholesterol. Cholesterol truly is a misunderstood partner in our health. Today we vilify cholesterol. We desecrate cholesterol. Now, take a step back. Look at that. Look at the grand design. The human body. If we don't have cholesterol, there's no human body. The liver makes cholesterol 24/7. Assembles it and sends it out to all areas of the body. The human brain, which is a ball of fat, is about 3/4, 75% cholesterol. So all the brain function requires cholesterol. All our hormones, we talked about hormones a moment ago, are made from cholesterol. Estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, this goes on, all made from cholesterol. So in our nature, cholesterol is a part of our building blocks. It's part of our goodness. Now, tens of years ago, There were studies that said cholesterol was seen in these plaques in the arteries, and so it's a cause of heart disease and strokes and all these other things. But the science today has more or less reversed that mistaken interpretation. Cholesterol is not a bad thing. The body needs cholesterol. When there's inflammation in the body, the liver makes even more cholesterol to go and put out that fire. Inflammation means fire. It serves a very important role. And today, we use drugs that block the liver's ability to produce cholesterol. We call them statins. And if you look at what's coming out in the scientific media today, statins have been blamed for a lot of our neurodegenerative disorders. Big one being memory problems, dementia, Alzheimer's dementia. Because it blocks the body's natural ability to make cholesterol, which the brain depends on 24/7 for its health. So cholesterol by itself is not a bad thing. The body makes it for a reason. God designed it for a reason. Now, talk about, well, if it's too high, it's a signal the body is giving us that something is going on somewhere. It's that yellow light on the dashboard of your car that says, check engine, check engine, check engine. What you ought to do is get to the home and check the engine, not put a cloth and cover the light on the dashboard that says check engine. So let's seize the cholesterol vilification. It's actually very beneficial. And we need to switch from the typical allopathic medicine interpretation to a more natural and a more holistic understanding of the body and cholesterol.
Okay.
The second arena was on peanut oil.
Okay, sir, please, just a moment before you go there. What then is good cholesterol? So you like foods. So I while you were speaking, I just quickly Googled something. They say that some causes of high cholesterol high intake of foods containing unhealthy fats.
Okay.
So
What are unhealthy fats? Fats that I would say man has toyed with. The biggest category of unhealthy fats are your trans fats.
Okay.
Natural oils that man has forced hydrogen bonds into them to make them quote unquote more stable. Those are what we call trans fats. They're notoriously inflammatory, and they're the major cause of a lot of our inflammation in the blood vessels, which results in a cascade of reactions causing narrowing of the vessels, buildup of cholesterol and other fibrin and other things, and then things like heart attack and stroke. Cholesterol, we say we have the good and the bad. The so-called good cholesterol, or the HDL cholesterol. HDL really is high-density lipoprotein. It's a protein the body makes that helps transport cholesterol from the cells back to the liver. So from the site of the battle, the site of the fire, the cholesterol debris and other things packs up the cholesterol and brings it back to the liver, HDL. So we like HDL to be high because it's clearing it out from the periphery. The so-called bad cholesterol, LDL, low density lipoprotein, is actually a protein that does what? It's a bus that carries the cholesterol made by the liver to the points in the body where the body needs the cholesterol to do the mending, the fixing, to calm the fire, to put out the, what's another word?
Inflammation in the body.
Yeah. Okay. So not necessarily that one is good or one is bad. They're just buses that carry cholesterol back and forth.
Okay.
If the LDL is high, it's a signal the body is giving us that something is going on somewhere. Let's figure it out.
Okay.
The oils.
Yeah, the oils because well, I'm probably going to learn today, but it tastes good, This is me just bracing up for the shocker.
Oils are part of so many of our natural foods.
Okay.
You mentioned peanuts. Egusi has oil. Ogbono has oil. Avocado has oil. Corn, everything has some oil component to it. Plants by nature do not carry cholesterol as a component in their fat and of their oil. They have phytosterols, which are another form of fat that are actually very beneficial and actually calm inflammation. Cholesterol is primarily seen in mammals, in animals. We make cholesterol in the liver, the monkey, even the lizard, the elephant. It is very, very rare. Very few plants, if at all any, very few, synthesize in cholesterol. We have plant sterols. We call them phytosterols. So when people say when people advertise on a bottle that says no cholesterol in this vegetable oil, it's misleading. There's not a vegetable that has cholesterol in it. It is absolutely misleading.
Oh, that's a now marketers need to go to court for that one.
If we had
We need to take them to court for that.
If we had serious consumer advocate lawyers,
Yeah.
they would make a killing in this country. An absolute killing from what is said. I mean, starting with some of the advertising that goes on.
Oh wow. So no seeds oil has cholesterol in
Cholesterol.
it. And
Period.
here you're talking avocado, pear,
Yep.
peanuts,
Peanuts inclusive. Cashew nuts inclusive.
cashew nuts.
They have phytosterols. They don't have cholesterol.
David. Hello. Okay. That's necessary. And this is because, sir, I have you heard Nigerians say stuff like, I don't eat palm oil? I've heard so many say, I don't eat palm oil. I'm like, wait, what do you mean you don't eat palm oil but you eat rice? Like, well, the doctor advised me not to eat palm oil. And I don't know why I don't agree with it. The truth is I can't quite verbalize my disagreement, but something inside of me disagrees with it. Because I'm like, there are other things you're consuming that I think is more detrimental to your health than palm oil. So in your view, how would you articulate, I mean, from your professional standpoint, what exactly is this thing? Is it accurate, the perception that palm oil, so maybe it's people who have obesity, for example, say, well, the doctor says we shouldn't eat palm oil. They say don't eat salt, don't eat palm oil. The palm oil one, I have a feeling that it's being demarketed in order to sell us something else. And I could be wrong. So what's your view?
There's a powerful book written by Dr. Fife, F-I-F-E, where he goes into this and he outlines the deliberate, systematic demarketing of tropical oils. Palm oil, coconut oil. And he lists the studies that were done on which this demarketing was built. In those studies, they did not use either cold-pressed palm oil or pure, even heat-extracted palm oil. They used oils that had gone through the hydrogenation, which makes oils more inflammatory. Your tropical oils, coconut oil, palm oil, yes, they have what are called saturated fats, versus oils like the canola, corn, and soy that are what we call that have polyunsaturated fats. But the body needs fats. Even the saturated fats, the body needs them. Your brain is a ball of saturated fat. What holds all your cells together? When you look at pure palm oil, break it down into its components. You wish you had been consuming it from childhood.
Yeah?
Your beta-carotenes abundant in red palm oil. What are beta-carotenes? The body converts them to vitamin A, which are awesome for the eyes, the skin, the GI tract, and tremendous other benefits. Your most complete, most powerful vitamin E comes from red palm oil. Today we buy vitamin E in the marketplace that has only one component, which is usually it's the delta alpha beta gamma. It's the alpha tocopherol. True vitamin E has six components: alpha, beta, gamma, tocopherol, and alpha, beta, gamma tocotrienol.
Which one has D-tocopherol? There's one that's D-tocopherol. Is that the tocopherol?
That's tocopherol.
Oh, okay.
You have the tocopherols and the tocotrienols.
Ladies and gentlemen,
boys and girls, introducing the first of its kind in Nigeria.
the first radio just for kids. It's here at 101.7 Kids FM.
Are you serious?
Oh, yes.
It's going to be fun for kids on your airwaves 24/7.
Talking about from exciting games
Check.
to juicy gist
Double check.
and great music.
Super check.
All these and more on your number one PlayStation 101.7 Kids FM.
Don't be the last to join the train. Download the Kids FM app on your iOS or Play Store today and stay tuned on the go.
You can stream on our website at kidsfm.ng.
You can also follow us on all socials at kidsfm.ng and stand a chance to be one of the super kids.
On 101.7 Kids FM. Remember, it's no dull moments on Kids FM.
So tune in and stay locked on 101.7 Kids FM.
Let's play.
You are listening to your number one station for talk.
Your number one station for talk.
99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
Lagos, we're back. Now, honestly, it's just because I'm really trying to be a good girl. Otherwise, you should be paying me for this one. How many of you have stopped eating palm oil? Like, you see this one on palm oil? I must have met like 100 grown-up adults, parents, who say, the doctor said I shouldn't eat palm oil. I'm like, why? It's like, they say it's not good for the health. So apparently, you've been missing out. That's just basically what this is. Doctor, I'm going to just let you continue. We have 3 more minutes before top of the hour. Top of the hour, we bring you the news update. After that, on the other side, I'm going to start reading your questions. I still have my questions, getting your questions as quickly as you can. On the other side of the 1 o'clock hour, I'm going to be reading your questions, and hopefully the doctor can help bring some comprehension. See that palm oil one? Doctor, you were on it.
Palm oil. Please take a moment and look at the constituents, the ingredients in palm oil, and you know that this is a blessing to man. We talked about the vitamins, vitamin A, vitamin E. There's so many other ones. There's a wide range of antioxidants that are in palm oil.
Ooh.
Powerful anti-inflammatory components in palm oil. Now, and here's a opportunity for those who are entrepreneurs. The bulk of palm oil in the marketplace today is processed through a heat extraction process. However, if you can do it through a cold extraction, you retain a higher phytonutrient profile, a higher vitamin profile, a higher mineral profile of the red palm oil. That is the medicinal red palm oil.
Sir, I hate to interrupt your speaking. I would like for you to speak on this. Palm oil is obtained from the fruit of the palm tree. It's used for preventing vitamin A deficiency, cancer, brain disease, aging, treating of malaria, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, cyanide poisoning.
Yes. If anyone has consumed a toxic substance, be it cyanide, be it sniper, you have nothing else around you but red palm oil, give them at least 4 to 6 tablespoonfuls of red palm oil immediately.
Let me even tell you, I grew up hearing people say someone takes poison, give them palm oil, but I didn't have the science to it. I just knew that's what people would say. And even lately, you see on social media, someone has taken poison. Everybody scurries around looking for palm oil, but we don't know the science. So you're giving language to the science of palm oil. So it's safe to conclude that palm oil was deliberately being demarketed.
Yes, period. Deliberately. To allow the marketplace presence and market share to drop to make room for the seed oils, the canola, the corn, the soybean from the West, from the US and Canada in particular. Period.
Lagos.
And those oils have cannot match the nutrient profile of palm oil. They cannot. Combine them, they cannot.
Those oils combined cannot match the nutrient profile of the Nigerian palm oil.
Yes, ma'am. They cannot.
We've been robbed. Lagos, we're off on a break. We'll be right back. The sunny side. The news update is next. When we return, you know where you should be. I need not tell you.
o'clock. 1 o'clock.
The headline news on 99.3 Nigeria Info. The news update.
99.3 Nigeria Info, you're listening to the news updates this hour. The Lagos State government says it will sanction its officials involved in putting up illegal structures across the state. Commissioner for the Environment and Water Resources, Tokunbo Wahab, stated this while addressing concerns of Lagosians following the recent demolition across the state. According to him, the government will go after all those who connive with developers to build on the right-of-way and drainage channels in Lagos State. The ongoing removal of shanties across some bridges in Lagos State continues at various locations. The latest exercise was carried out under the Adeniji Bridge in the Lagos Island area of the state. Meanwhile, the federal government is asking people to disregard information circulating that Nigeria plans to site foreign military bases in the country. Minister of Information Mohammed Idris says there were never discussions between Nigeria and any foreign country on the issue, calling the stories falsehood. Idris insists the government has neither received nor considered any proposal for the establishment of foreign military bases in Nigeria. And according to him, the Nigerian government already enjoys foreign cooperation in tackling ongoing security challenges. And labor unions have given the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission until the 12th of May to withdraw the recent hike in electricity tariff. The unions say failure to withdraw the hike will lead to an unprecedented industrial action. The ultimatum was issued by the Nigerian Labour Congress and Trade Union Congress. Both unions say the decision was not just morally reprehensible, considering the difficulties Nigerians have had to face in recent times, but also blatantly disregards the fundamental principles and statutory obligations. And finally, Kiev says 2 Ukrainian security officials arrested over Russian plots to assassinate President Zelensky. This breaking news story is being updated and more details will be published shortly. That's the news update. It is back to the sunny side with Joyce. I am Yvonne Ochaifa. You're listening to 99.3 Nigeria Info. Stay with us.
They talk and you talk. This is Nigeria Info.
If you say no weapon fashion against me shall prosper, what about the way we are fashion against ourselves?
Campaign is over. I still wonder why we keep hearing they are coming. We are about to do this and that.
The devil wants us to say that God is not good. The crisis we are in now is economic persecution.
In fact, recording it and putting it on the social media is very good for him. It's a good evidence for him.
We've got to bring the green back into our nation. There's a reason why Nigeria's flag is green.
99.3. Your station for talk. Let's talk.
You are listening to Open Thought on the sunny side with Joyce. Let's talk.
We're back. 99.3 Nigeria Info, the sunny side. Welcome if you have just tuned in. It's Open Thought Tuesday. Our guest was here last Monday, and many of you had questions, and I'm hoping your questions were answered last week. I'm assuming they weren't, and for those of you whose questions were not, well, you have today. And I'm looking at quite a number of your questions, but I'd like to just quickly introduce our guests. It's necessary that you know, particularly if you missed out on our last Monday's edition of Food as Medicine. So this is Food as Medicine Part 2. He was a product of St. Gregory's College, Obalende. I think I just want to get into the medical aspect of this gentleman. Bachelor's degree in chemistry from George Washington University, followed by a bachelor's in pharmacy, honors from the Howard University, and he moved from there. He emerged from there with an MD degree and then had a specialty training in internal medicine. 1996, he emerged from the Johns Hopkins University, Baltimore, Maryland. He accomplished an executive MBA at the University of South Florida, Tampa in 2003. So here is a man who knows exactly what he's talking about. You must have heard your grandmothers tell you a tale about food and medicine, your aunties, your uncles, your granddad, granduncles, but maybe there is science to it. And to understand medicine, you must understand the science of it. So last week, if you remember, the first question I asked him last week was, what is sickness? Because if you understand sickness, you understand medicine, then you realize your food is your medicine. And it's not even conspiracy theory, because I think you can read about it, particularly this issue of palm oil and how it's been marketed, what you're told of it, and the options that you have been offered to replace your palm oil as quote unquote a better version. There's information you can use, and I want to quickly hand that over to you.
Yeah, very much very much so. There's information that you can use, and it goes thus. Joyce is still going to give you money. I know the talk is about health right now, but you know, you need money to also afford health. And we are affording you the chance to play for your share of 150,000 naira today, tomorrow, the day after that, the day after that, the day after that. Yes, every other day. And the code you need to play this game is *347 *880 *3#. Yes, make sure you select Nigeria Info as your station once you do. Well, that is if you are going on the website, that is which is www.oneplay.ng. Once you go there, make sure you select Nigeria Info as your station. It will cost you 500 naira whether you are using the SMS code *347 *880 *3#, or you're going on the open internet at www.1play.ng. Now remember, on Friday there's going to be a jackpot. Jackpot is 500,000 naira large, and you do not want to miss out on it. You could be one in the number who gets to walk away with their share of that huge number. So what are you waiting for, ladies and gentlemen? Start playing and start winning today. Now remember to play responsibly and make sure that you are above the age of 18 while playing. OnePlay is a registered trademark under Lasho Trading Services Limited, licensed by the Lagos State Lotteries and Gaming Commission. Start playing, ladies and gentlemen, and with luck, you could be the one that Joyce announces as her winner later on in the show.
But that's what you have to do. You have to play to win, and before the sun sets.
If you don't play, you're not going to win.
Yeah. And you could lose as well, but that's not the point.
That's
the
a good
point
caveat
is,
too. Yeah.
The point is you want to win, but you have to take a chance.
Yeah, take a chance.
So on your phone, *347 *880 *3#. You play, you could win. Now, the more chances you take, the better your chances of winning, and every chance will cost you 500 Nigerian naira. So get playing, or you go to the website www.oneplay.ng. Play to, and good luck.
Well, Joyce, there's also the little matter of Children's Day. We've been talking about that for a couple of days.
It's no little matter with kids. It's all the matter. It's all the matter. Yeah, it's all the matter.
You love kids?
No. I mean, I don't hate them.
I love the honesty. I actually am done with it. I love the honesty.
I don't hate them.
Of course you don't. Who would say that?
I don't hate them, but I just want them to grow up quickly.
Yeah. Of course you would say that on air. Come on.
Say what?
That you hate kids.
I mean, I honestly do not hate kids, but do I like them? I barely even like adults, you know?
The truth of the matter is that you don't like anybody, to be fair. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are not like Joyce, you can actually stand children and you don't want them to grow up too very quickly.
You know the funny thing? You guys are not being honest. You know I'm not the only person who feels this way.
But at least
you don't hate them. But
you want them to be out of your hair sometimes.
No, sometimes you just want them to understand you. Like, let's talk as adults, because maybe it makes things easier and quicker.
Why would you want children to converse as adults?
No. Don't worry. I've told you that I've spoken to God about it. Like, just give me kids.
I know.
Kids are quick fixes.
I know for a fact that prayer will not be answered. But if you are one of those out there who is not particularly like Joyce, you don't mind children, you don't want them to be out of your hair. In fact, you have the time of day for them, then this information is for you. Get ready for a day of fun and excitement as we celebrate Children's Day at the Fun Factory Amusement Park. Join us on the 27th of May at number 10 Lai Yusuf Crescent off Admiralty Way, Lekki Phase 1 for unmatched fun, games, activities, and surprises. From face painting to treasure hunts to dancing chairs, there's something for each and every one of you in tow. Happiness is contagious, and unforgettable memories will be created. So come one and come all. Let us make this Children's Day one to remember. fun factory where every child's dreams comes alive and every day is an adventure of fun. What are we waiting for? Children's Day is not too far from now, so start.
What day
preparing.
is it again?
27th of May.
All right.
2024.
You and your little cute rascals have a place to be.
Oh my God. Joyce, come on.
I said that we're cute rascals, and
Of course.
rascal is not a bad.
I mean,
term.
a better word would be rabble rousers.
You and your cute rascals have a place
Just
to
say
be on
rabble
Children's Day.
rousers. It's much bearable when you use that word. Rabble rousers.
No. As long as you know my intention or my motive.
Your
it's what it
intention,
is.
your intentions do not matter in the world of outrage. We will still be outraged.
Well, I hope you can, pardon yourselves, heal and move on.
We don't need to heal. How dare you refer to them as rascals? Who are you?
Anyways, win money. How about that? Star 347.
Okay, that I can get behind.
Star 347 star 880 star 3 hash. All right, so we're back with our guest, and this conversation continues. I can see you on Facebook and on YouTube. If you have any questions, get into it. And the earlier you're in, the quicker you're out. Yeah, that's a line from Mary Poppins, but this is more serious business than that. We'll off on a break. We'll be right back.
You are listening to Open Thought on the Sunny Side with Joyce. Let's talk.
We're back, and our guest is Dr. Patrick Ijewere, and he is for sure certified to speak on the subject matter of wellness and medicine, because one, he is trained in that field, two, he has chosen a path, and it's not just to sell drugs, but it's to heal people. And it's a privilege to know that in this world where people can place profit before the good, place profit before truth, place profit before their conscience, it's good to come in contact with people who are more persuaded to do what is just, what is right, and what is God ordained. Otherwise, we're in a world where we rob ourselves of that which is beautiful, eternal, divine, a blessing. I mean, look at palm oil, for example. Someone already says, well, Joyce, thank you for this palm oil one, because her mom used to be one of the people who, until her passing, used to be one of the people who would say, who didn't eat palm oil because she was advised not to because it was bad for her health. So I can't imagine what could have happened to her if, she had a situation consuming palm oil to gain all of its benefits. Sir, there's a question here for you. What is the effects of IUCD contraception or contraceptive to the body? I've been passing out very concentrated urine since I started using IUCD contraceptives. And she says copper, to be precise.
All right.
That affects the hormones, right?
Yes. Yes. I'm going to challenge you to go and do a lot of research, and anybody else who is pondering to use these intrauterine devices to do their thorough research.
Okay.
Some devices are without hormones. Most today have the hormones in them also. And yes, it's absorbed into the body. That's the hormone component, and it affects all the organ systems. Affects short term and also affects long term. Remember, these are hormones such as estrogen, hormones that create an imbalance in your own estrogen-progesterone balance, hormones that interfere with the natural order of the monthly cycle. Remember, we're created in perfection. Remember that everything has an order. I use the term divine circularity. When you choose to interfere in that divine circularity, there are consequences. And it can range from autoimmune issues to hormonal issues to infertility issues to blood dyscrasias, blood abnormalities. Do your homework before you decide to interfere in a divine circularity.
I think you're underscoring something here, which is largely overlooked. And there's probably a reason why we overlook it, but I want to repeat it because that's what I'm getting. You're saying that there is an order to the human body, and to tamper with it practically is you tampering with your health.
Absolutely, yes.
So you follow the order, Because if you go against the order, then you create disorder.
Disorder in a ripple effect.
That has a ripple effect.
Yes.
Okay.
And not just the human body has that order, the earth has that order. From the plants and how we plant things and how it gives us seeds, to even water, how it percolates down into the earth, or evaporates into the skies to give us clouds and comes back down. A lot of our drugs today interfere with the natural order of our hormones, our enzymes, our micronutrients, and thus we see the side effects.
So then, an alternative would be: are there foods then? What are the alternatives then? Because I think this is a married woman whose husband is like, oh, well, no more kids, but we need to have sex, so this is where they go. They're natural things, right?
Our Creator knew we would want to have this interaction, be it for procreation or for pleasure. And He has also given us signals to understand when the body is fertile and when the body is infertile. Remember, it's a cycle.
Yeah. So if your body is infertile, you can have sex. When your body is fertile, you don't have sex. So that automatically regulates how much sex you can have.
Indirectly.
They don't want to hear that. I can guarantee that, no, they don't want to hear. They're not interested at this point. Oh, good God. Okay.
All right. Let's come back to the oil matter.
Okay. Well, but you're saying that you can follow your body clock. That's one way.
The body clock, the cervical mucus. There's a discharge or an output the cervical cells, we call them cervical crypts, put out.
Yeah.
And just by sampling it, you can tell if you're in your fertile cycle or you're in the fertile part of your cycle or the infertile part of your cycle.
Oh.
Yes, ma'am.
So how can they? I mean, so what are they looking for? Or are they supposed to read a book, Google it, research
there
it?
are books that teach it. There's a
come to your clinic. What are they supposed to do?
Come to our clinic.
Okay.
It's a whole curriculum. Research done by Creighton University, Omaha, Nebraska. There's volumes of this research.
Creighton
University did the work.
In Nebraska.
Nebraska. Some call it the Creighton natural procreative method.
Yeah. Okay.
Where you can study your body and these natural signals the body gives, so you know when you're fertile and when you're infertile.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So, lady, that answers your question. And I think what is the fundamental response here, what I think you must take away is when we alter a natural order, because the world is founded on laws, when we defy a law, there's a consequence to that. And the longer we linger on the side of disobedience or disorder, we create a ripple effect or a reaction that's not beneficial or profitable to us. I think that really just answers your question. So I'm hoping. Sir, there's a question here. Another one. Please, what's the natural way or herbal way to heal schizophrenia?
All right. Take a step back. What are the factors that have caused this to show up? If you start with the thought that we live in a perfect system, that God loves for us, all of us, his children, to be well.
Yeah.
When ailments come up, always take a step back and try to understand where did symptoms begin to show up and what am I doing that is taking me off my wellness track. So even with schizophrenia, you must delve into their upbringing. Go as far as even gestational period. How was mom's health when this child was in there? How was mom's nutrition when the baby was cooking for the 9 months? Were things lacking nutritionally? Was mother under a lot of emotional stress? Was she walking around with high cholesterol level, high epinephrine level? Was she bathing that child in anger and bitterness? You need to go into all of these and then do a full analysis on this child. Look at what is missing, what is deficient, what is insufficient, what is toxic in the system, and address those underlying factors. And you'll be amazed that quite often these symptoms will diminish significantly. And then in the few arenas, you bring in additional natural items to help. When it comes to psychiatry, the bulk of our psychiatric drugs are trouble. I'm a medical doctor and I'm saying this clearly. I have friends who are psychiatrists.
Yeah.
There are ways to approach psychiatric and psychological challenges without using psychiatric drugs. There are books published by doctors who will tell you about psychiatric drugs and their major concerns. Whether they're antidepressants, antipsychotics, or anti-anxiety drugs.
Yeah. So now, there's something you're speaking on right now that's very important. I came by a literature, and it was on an experiment done on prisoners, where two groups, of course, one fed good nutrition, and the other fed not good nutrition.
What's called the SAD, Standard American Diet.
That's it. The not good nutrition.
Yeah, junk food.
You lived in America like practically maybe half your life, or maybe all your life.
20,
so are you
half my life,
saying
28 years?
So you're saying that the nutrition wasn't good, like standard? If you had to go by the culture, or what they have made culture, the nutrition isn't good?
It is sad. It is very inflammatory. It's nutrient deficient, and it is the major reason why the American healthcare indices are getting worse and worse every year, in spite of their technology, in spite of all their medications, in spite of all their what about they doing in the health arena? The numbers for cancer, high blood pressure, diabetes, obesity, psychiatric disorders, ADHD, you name them, keep going up every year in spite of all their medicines and technologies, because they are missing a major fundamental issue, which is in the agricultural and nutritional arena.
So what I was trying to tell you about was that I came by this science article, and there was an experiment on prisoners. So one group were given good nutrition, the other given bad food, like not so nutritious food. And the group given good nutrition had their entire brain kind of remodeled, like they were better prisoners, their violence tendency reduced, their aggression tendency reduced, something reduced and that reduced. So they just became like sane humans for a model society. And those who didn't have good nutrition were more violent, more aggressive, were the ones who were qualified to be behind bars. And to just buttress what you're saying, given the literature that I read, you're saying that nutrition is fundamental to us, not just our psychology, but our mentality, actually.
Our mentality, our intellect, our emotional health, our level of irritability, and even how we interact with those around us, spouses, children, and our colleagues in the office. I'm going to add to the study you just mentioned.
Yeah.
Study was done. It's a school in the Midwest. This school had a very high rate of violence. Student-teacher violence. Student-student violence. Vulgarity, theft, you name it. And of course, poor academic records. The school required 4 policemen and about 2 police cars every single day. They decided to change the food in the cafeteria. They took out all the processed foods, took out all the soft drinks, all of them, all those high sugar drinks, all were gone. And they replaced them with fresh juices, fresh squeezed juices, smoothies, salads, wraps, fruit salads, vegetable salads, stir-fry salads, you name it. In 6 months, the rate of violence at that school dropped. Student-teacher interaction, violence and misbehavior dropped. By the end of 12 months, they barely required 1 police officer at that school, if any at all. At the end of 12 months, grades in the school went up significantly. Even lateness to school ceased occurring. Students are coming to school on time, looking forward to classroom activities. What we eat, what we give our children, right from the womb, affects them emotionally, mentally, intellectually, and even their ability to deal with other adults in the future. Right from the womb. That's why we speak over and over. If you're going to get married, before you start having children, meet with someone who understands these fundamental issues to put your nutrition right. We have a client we're dealing with currently. 5-year-old, 3-year-old client, complaining that he has all kinds of health issues. Look at what the child is eating. He's a very picky eater. Let me not even go there. It's
okay. Like this is on this topic needs to be a show on its own. Like this topic needs to be a separate show by itself.
Yes. We had a case
of
a 4-year-old who could barely speak, whereas his 2-year-old sister was already uttering
speaking.
words and knocking out, vocabulary.
Yeah.
Parents brought him to us. Looked at what the mother was eating, father was eating, what the child was being fed. Within 6 months, the child is speaking. Totally changes nutrition. That's how important nutrition is. It's the building block for everything that child does in life.
Or becomes. So it's not
Becomes.
just like, so the human framework is practically established on nutrition. The entire human physiognomy is on nutrition. So if you're listening, you can Google, 16 years ago, The Guardian published an article. Just Google that, The Guardian. Prison studies show that better nutrition reduces violence. You can Google that. And then there is another medical article, Anomalous Manifestations of Malnutrition in Japanese Camps. Anomalous Manifestations of Malnutrition in Japanese camps. You can read these medical articles. It buttresses what the doctor is speaking on right now. How nutrition is the deciding factor between sanity and insanity, intelligence and the lack thereof.
Yes.
You know, it's wild now that you say it like that. Now that you say it like that, it's like an unintelligent people may not necessarily be cursed. They may just be malnutrition.
Yeah. And it starts with what we mentioned last week. It starts with the agriculture, the chemicals you put in that soil.
Wow.
I was in a discussion on national security and nutrition. We had a gentleman who's NSA retired expert, and he was very clear on the interface between nutrition, agriculture, nutrition, healthcare, productivity, and national security. US won't allow anyone to come and toy with their cultural structure. That's why they subsidize it heavily. And here we are allowing GMOs and other chemicals to be poured in. Very unfortunate.
Okay. This needs to be an individualized conversation, because I'm getting so many ideas the more you speak, and I'm realizing how much of our problem is really probably even just this. How malnutrition is probably responsible for every other. Then that's what it is. Malnutrition is the cause of every malfunction or deformity.
And it goes back to the parental nutrition
that we may be dealing with as a society. So this one is asking, I have reoccurring cancer sores all over my mouth for like 15 years. Reoccurring cancer sores for 15 years.
It probably means canker, not cancer.
Oh, pardon me. Canker. Pardon me, you're right.
Okay. The body is simply speaking. The body is simply communicating. Stuff is missing, or the stuff in there that is blocking your own healthy systems from working.
15 years? That's almost incomprehensible.
We had a client recently who's had unexplained running to the bathroom a lot. Ran his nutrient analysis. Deficiency in several minerals. Loaded them up. Within 2 weeks, he was amazed that he could sleep through the night and not run to the bathroom. This guy is not diabetic. He's run through all kinds of tests that showed something irritating in the bladder that caused him to pee very often and not empty the bladder quickly. And we fixed it with nutritional interventions.
Like what? I mean, you can give us an idea.
Some of the key minerals: zinc, magnesium.
Wow.
Now, folks, if you go out there and get zinc, know what kind you're getting, because there's all kinds of zinc salt on the market. If you're getting magnesium, buyer beware. There's magnesium sulfate, magnesium glycinate, magnesium lysine, magnesium threonate, magnesium malate, magnesium citrate, all kinds of magnesium on the market. You must know which kind to use.
So I think from your judgment, I'm getting that every time a person gets ill, it's probably, I'm not a medical person, I need your judgment here. It's probably it's probably a nutritional deficiency, but instead when we go to the hospitals, they give us petrochemical
Band-Aids. They give us petrochemical-based band-aids.
You know, this is crazy, right?
Plaster to cover it, as opposed to...
It feels like we're unraveling a fraud here. That's what it feels like to me.
Medicine is notorious for fixing symptoms and dealing with symptoms, not the underlying cause.
99.3 Nigeria Info, the sunny side, and I don't know whether you're in this as much as I am. It feels like I'm maybe even touching something akin to a revelation at this point. And it's interesting because I've always known this. But the more, I speak to doctor about this, the more I think even veils get peeled back. And it's revealing what may have been a robbery of a sort. Like a deliberate disarming of a people to make them dependent on something other than themselves, but they have been made self-sufficient. So a self-sufficient people robbed and then forced to be dependent on someone other than themselves.
You have summarized it beautifully, Joyce. There's an article that was published, Guardian UK, when the early missionaries or early explorers came to the ancient Benin Kingdom. They described in that article vividly what they saw. And they said, these people are way advanced than us in Europe. They saw wide streets with street lamps burning palm oil. They saw large compounds, very organized, clean in ancient Benin. They saw a wall built around the ancient Benin Kingdom. Massive wall with a moat that they could barely imagine how people built it. Joyce, I'm going to make a very bold statement.
Okay, I want to hear it.
Malaria was never an African problem.
Really?
When I gave last week, I gave a list of some of the herbs. Over 100 shown by our universities. Research.
You came with I almost wanted you to. I wanted you to come with. You came with a book.
This is volume 2.
What is
this? This is volume 2. Nigerian.
I wanted you to come with it.
And traditional medicine practices. Research done and published in journals, local and international journals.
1983.
This is volume 2.
I saw 1983 research there.
Yes. I have another book here, published in 1939 by a Canadian dentist. And I'll read just a brief excerpt from the back of it.
I want to hear it. Please go ahead. Welcome. You're listening to Nigeria Info, and maybe more than just discussing nutrition or food as nutrition, we're unraveling the entire scope of science and medicine today.
The book is called Nutrition and Physical Degeneration by Weston Price, DDS, a dentist. An epic study demonstrating the importance of whole food nutrition and the degeneration and destruction that comes from a diet of processed foods. For nearly 10 years, Weston Price and his wife traveled around the world in search of the secret to health. Instead of looking at people afflicted with disease symptoms, this couple looked for individuals who had achieved and had amazing health. Dr. Price traveled to hundreds of cities in a total of 14 different countries in his search to find healthy people. He investigated some of the most remote areas of the world. He observed perfect dental arches, minimal tooth decay, high immunity to tuberculosis, and overall excellent health in those groups of people who ate their indigenous foods. He found when these people were introduced to modernized foods such as white flour, white sugar, refined vegetable oils, and canned goods, signs of degeneration quickly became quite evident. Dental caries, deformed jaw structures, crooked teeth, arthritis, and low immunity to tuberculosis became rampant amongst them. Dr. Price documented this ancestral wisdom. This book was first published in 1939, almost 85 years ago.
.9 Nigeria Info, the sunny side. Welcome. My name's Joyce, and our guest this afternoon is Dr. Patrick Ijewere. And it's supposed to be, the topic is food as medicine part 2, but I think that we may be touching a nerve here by unraveling science and modern medicine. You remember when we discussed on the Lords of Logic the origin of the word pharmacy, and we discovered that the origin of the word pharmacy, pharmakia, in Greek means magic. And we're trying to comprehend, well, what is this magic? Well, I'm asking you to recall our conversation on the Lords of Logic and see whether there is any bearing it would have on the commentary you're hearing from the doctor today. I'm going to further read your questions, but I'm asking you to apply a little bit more presence of mind to his judgment, to his perspective, to his interpretations. Because maybe this whole idea of sickness is something that you can fix yourself, except a lack of knowledge has made you dependent. And what do they say of a people who do not have knowledge? I'll allow you to figure that out yourself. Rosemary's here. She says, please, what can a postmenopausal woman do? She says, how can a postmenopausal woman balance her hormone, especially take care of her gut health?
2 questions there, if not 3. Let's break it down. Menopause should be a very smooth transition. I recall my grandmother being worried as to why women today are having so many hormonal health issues. Her peers never experienced it. Menopause should be a smooth transition. Now, let's look at the journey into menopause. If you have a car that has not been well maintained, hasn't been well taken care of, and suddenly you get a phone call, you have to travel to Ibadan for an urgent meeting, maybe the child is ill or something. That's the only option you have for transportation. You do the sign of the cross, get in the car, and you drive off to Ibadan. By the time you get back from Ibadan, the car is likely to be even worse off than what managed to carry you to Ibadan and back. In other words, what occurs to you during and after menopause is a reflection of what you have been before menopause. If you've been lacking a lot of micronutrients before menopause, your vitamins, A's, the E's, the C's, and even the K's, the gut health one, K2, before menopause, chances are you will have a challenge going through menopause and one heck of a time post-menopause.
So you're saying that this whole thing about menopause and women having some slight suffering during that phase of their lives is practically a function of a lack of nutrition?
Chronic.
Oh, it's like a chronic phase, huh?
Yes. The more deficient, the more toxic you are pre-menopause, the more challenging you'll have that menopausal period and the aftermath afterwards.
Okay. I don't know why that sounds scary. Someone's talking about natural medicine that can ease hot flashes, and I know that's one sign of menopause. What happens to the body?
Just for ease of explanation.
When the AC is working, but you're still sweating, is that what's happening?
Yes, there are imbalances, and we have several hormones that regulate that AC. Hormones that serve as thermometers and thermostats that are misfiring, from the estrogens to the progesterone to the thyroid. She needs to see a holistic nutritionist or practitioner.
On Twitter, on Instagram, he is Dr. Dr.
Patrick Ijewere.
So Dr. Patrick Ijewere. So you can ask him these questions that need a little bit more explaining. I would even say that appear to need more examination. What is examination of your habits and the cultures you may have readopted? Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Yeah, he says, please, could you shed light on GMO foods as Nigeria intends exploring this aspect of agriculture for human consumption? On the other hand, can following for the period of 7 years the soil to regenerate sustain Nigeria of over 200 million population?
All right. About 3 questions there. Let's take it one by one.
Okay.
The one about following. If you haven't done things that are destructive to the land, which is heavy chemical, pesticides, herbicides, fertilizers, the agents of soil fertility are still there, and they will help you regenerate the soil. What are the agents of soil fertility? The microbes, the fungi, the mushrooms, the
worms,
the earthworms, the maggots, all those things are still there in there. They'll further break down the deeper layers of the soil and bring it up to the topsoil. They are still there. Okay? So following works. Scientifically, historically, biblically proven.
Let me quickly ask you. When we use Monsanto fertilizers, those things, the herbicides and the pesticides, they kill the worms and those things?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Is that what happens?
CIDE, to kill. Herbicide, pesticide. Kill herbs, kill pests.
So practically we're deforming the food chain. That's what we're doing.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's the part they don't talk up to you or tell the farmers. All they say is yield, yield, yield. You're going to increase your yield. You don't tell them about the long-term consequences to the soil. You don't.
Oh, this is crazier than it sounds.
Yield, yield, yield. A colleague of mine would say, forget yield. Talk about nutritional content. The food today is nutritionally de-yielded, unyielded.
Deprived,
deficient, I mean, you name it. That's what. If you have land, please start an organic farm.
Okay, now, so here is a complexity here, because this is a multi-layered question. He says, well, talk about GMO foods, which, of course, Nigeria intends...
We're already promoting
we're already in it, because the Nigerian government has approved the corn, right?
GMO corn and GMO cowpea, black eyed pea, beans. Already approved.
Oh, wait.
And there's more in the pipeline because of the misguided policies. There's more in the pipeline.
Can we sustain the economy, 7 million people, with your idea of what is supposed to be the natural circle of life?
All right. Nigeria didn't start today. Let's look at even more recent. I touched on the 1970s.
By the way, can I buy that book?
This book is available at the office of NNMDA here at number 9 Kafabayami Street.
I can get that one, so you showed up
check this bookstore in VI.
Okay. Yeah. This one's I can see. Can I buy one?
This one?
Yeah.
Yes.
I want that. Can I have it? Can I pay for it?
Yes.
I'm asking because I want it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I want it.
Okay. The Nigerian nutritional journey or agricultural journey didn't start with the coming of the white man or the coming of colonization or the coming of independence. Did not. Population-wise, the various groups that have existed from the time of the Kanem-Borno Empire, the Benin Empire, the Ghana Empire, the Yoruba kingdoms, from those times, people have known how to feed themselves, and those empires were not stagnant. They had population increase. Now, in the 1970s, we were sold a bag of goods by the then president, head of state, something called OFN, Operation Feed the Nation. And they were screaming that by the year 2000, we would have starvation, not enough food to feed the nation. Therefore, we should engage this OFN scheme, which caused us to bring in tons of fertilizers into Nigeria. We began our fertilizer misguided journey with OFN. Here we're 2024. Are we starving as a country? No. So OFN, again, they create an anxiety and then throw in solutions which benefit them. But you don't see the longer term impact, negative impact in your own arena. 1980s, under then President, Obasanjo was president during OFN. Babangida was president during Green Revolution. The same thing was shouted to the skies. By year 2020, 25, we would have no food, we'll be starving, the population will be explode. Therefore, we must do all these things. They brought in tons of pesticides and herbicides. Leftover stores of Hitler's and other people's chemicals that are neurologically devastating, from 2D, 4D to the other organophosphates and something called glyphosate, that are part of our health issues today. Now, they're giving us that same scare tactic, anxiety. We won't have enough food to feed us in 2050, that we should not be chopping GMO. Whereas we don't even farm up to 5% of our land here in Nigeria. We don't. Look at any survey of Nigerian land. We don't farm up to 5% of our land here in Nigeria. We don't. And then if you look at the infrastructure to get produce from the farms to the cities, Kosi, I have people, we buy, mango is in season right now, who supplies mangoes straight from the farms. And they will tell you, every year, more than half of their harvest is lost because they cannot get the market for it or get it to the markets. The sad infrastructure for transportation, for storage, preservation, and then buying structure. Our issue is not seeds. Our issue is not army worm in Nasarawa or in one of the states up north. Those worms are there because you have damaged the immune system of the soil and the immune system of the plants. Address on the underlying cause, the worms will disappear. Tomato blight, or whatever they want to call it.
And then it's falsehood that we cannot feed ourselves.
Absolute falsehood.
So it's propaganda when they say, oh, there's poverty in Africa, there's starvation, and they will perish if we don't give them aid and give them food.
It is the modus operandi. You create a false scenario, create anxiety over it, let the leaders buy into it and propagate it. Then they also bring the solution.
It's like, yeah, that's what the conspiracy theorists have said, and they're not wrong when they say that you create the problem and then you bring the solution.
You create Boko Haram. You kill off a lot of the seed farmers. You create a program that you say going to benefit them. You knock off a lot of the seed farmers. You bring in certain pests into the land. You say, oh, we have the solution. Glyphosate and GMO.
You know, I was watching the news yesterday, and they were talking about building health cancer centers. You know, talking about as a form of collective or national development, we're going to be building cancer centers. And I thought, so here we're creating a solution for the problem that we have created, but not a solution to eradicate the problem that has been created.
That's the model we are following. It's a flawed model.
This is wild.
That's the model we're following. The country we're following has some of the worst world statistics in terms of cancer, diabetes, high blood pressure. Why would I send my daughter to go and study from a person who is flunking for her examination? We have to challenge the Western allopathic medical system. We must challenge it. What doesn't make sense? Develop our own. We have brains here to develop our own system.
I think there's a lack of courage, or there is the seduction of money that's probably preventing the will to do that.
Money, prestige, whatever they want to call it.
Yeah, prestige. Okay, I guess.
But what is the outcome you want of your healthcare system? Is it more hospitals? Is it access to the hospitals? Or is it a well population?
I think the answer is they want more hospitals. Like the news was reporting yesterday, they want centers, cancer centers. So we'll have centers where we manage or hopefully help cure your cancer. But we're not dealing with the problem.
We're not dealing with the source of the problem. The US has probably the world's highest density or concentration of MRIs, CT scans, ultrasound machines, PET scan machines, cancer centers, you name it. But is cancer any better? Has cancer reduced today? Has cancer incidence stopped rising? No.
Meaning that the idea is to have cancer and cancer patients continue to increase while the medical system makes money and builds more centers. Yes. So let me ask you, as a wellness practitioner and a doctor, food can cure cancer, yes or no?
Yes. Poor food causes cancer.
So good food cures cancer?
Yes, ma'am. You want to heal the body from any of its ailment? Listen, cancer is just the body saying, what you have been doing to me for the last 10, 15, 20 years has undermined my immune system, has undermined my policemen, my soldiers that normally police and clear out the abnormal cells, including those cancer cells in the early stages. Disease is just the body saying, what you have been doing is off alignment with my wellness. The body is a perfect system. That's how God created it.
This one goes, what food best takes care of the prevention and probably reversal and effects of the colossal damage of the eye? Palm oil, because you've mentioned that earlier on.
The foods that are very high in these antioxidants are beneficial. Palm oil is one of them. Zobo is another. Zobo has one of the world's highest ORAC scores. ORAC is the oxygen radical absorbent capacity of how anti-inflammatory, how antioxidant a food is. all the European berries are in the 2,000 to 3,000 range. Zobo is over 6,000. We are sitting on our own Garden of Eden. We don't know what God has given us here. We're busy chasing chemicals from abroad. The studies have been done where certain seaweeds given to school children.
Wait, hold on a second. Now I'm going to take you back a little bit. What'd you say about Zobo? Because because that thing is like 5 naira, we just look down on the guy. By the way, don't take prices up. Things are bad already. Good, Doc. You were saying
there are different scores that we use scientifically
to assess
how potent an antioxidant or anti-inflammatory a food or a chemical is.
Yeah.
One of the scores is the ORAC, oxygen free radical absorbent capacity. Most berries, strawberries, blackberries,
blueberries,
they score from the 1,000 up to about the 3,000 range.
And those things are like blood, right? You want a box to play with blood. I think it's like $5,000 for like 500 grams.
Your red palm oil and your Zobo score above 3,000. Zobo in particular scored above 6,000 on one of the studies I read. Blew me out of the water. Me, I drink Zobo every day.
Yo. new. They've cut soap for you now, because what else you call that? So you use Zobo you can use Zobo to maintain health of a sort. Like it has like trans nutrients, vitamins, and minerals that you can use to support anti-inflammation in the body.
Zobo, we have moringa, we have turmeric, abundant here.
Yeah, like I just discovered that turmeric one, man. I discovered that, but I think my body can manage a certain, like I have to really take like a tiny bit of it.
Yes.
Otherwise my head is going to want to fall out.
I mean, we have some of the most potent onions. You can't compare our northern red onions to onions from Italy, Spain, or you cannot. Nutrient profile, you cannot. Ours puts them to shame. Even our ginger, likewise. Do you know what God has given us in our soil? Do we know?
So the problem is that we don't know. So that's the problem is not knowing. That makes us slave to the one who sells a solution. Or at least tells us that he's selling a solution.
And creates a problem.
So you say Zobo could enhance your vision. Palm oil.
Zobo. Moringa. Turmeric.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Turmeric. So if you had children and you suppose that they could have, like if you just gave that to them in water, as just, your kids are drinking water, but you just kind of spike their water with these things, little doses.
You are elevating their immune system. You're giving them vitamin A, vitamin E. You're giving them tons of antioxidants. You're giving them tons of anti-inflammatory agents. And there's quite a list of them. But that's what God designed for us, his children, to consume.
This one goes, Doctor, this is Ola from Ogun State. Doctor, what you were saying about the palm oil is very, very accurate because I work in a vegetable oil company. We deal with palm oil daily. The only issue I have is the local maker of palm oil, that because fermentation of the palm oil fruit and other factors can lead to increase in oil fatty acids. The higher the fatty acids, the more it's bad for the health. So he's saying that the palm oil is good, but the processing is what could make it inflammatory. Bingo. Or not so good.
Bingo. Let me add.
Okay.
As children growing up.
Oh, sir. So I don't. Yeah, I think I'm off on a break. Okay. Lagos is that kind of day where you lose time of a clock because you're really just trying to take in as much as you can. And I'm trying to get out as much as I can. We're off on a break. We'll be right back. We're 99.3. We're Ijewere Info. The doctor is speaking on the question about palm oil. When we return, he continues, and I'll be reading your questions. It's Food as Medicine Part 2, and our guest is Dr. Patrick Ijewere on Ijewere Info. Don't go anywhere.
Listening to Open Thought on the Sunny Side with Joyce. Let's talk.
Remember what happened to me last year? How can we ever forget that when 4 men proposed to you?
Yes, so Kayode, Emeka, Kingsley, and even Muhammad. In fact,
fact, I was asking God when.
Good. Now here is the gist. Another dating party is coming. A large gathering of singles in Nigeria, and I believe that it is your time to meet Mr. or Mrs. Right. I said I didn't tell you. Date is Sunday,
26th of May,
2024. Time is 4 p.m. The dress code is all white. To register, visit www.intimacyclinic.org/upcoming event or call 0818-457-5377. If you are single and you want to mingle, don't just miss this for anything. It's gonna be loud. For sponsorship, call 0818-457-5377. Let's go there.
Who says you can't have it all with one play?
I got that defined, but you have just won yourself.
Congratulations. Hello, good morning.
Yes, Melitus. One player, don't talk to two players because you won 20K.
So now you won yourself 20,000 naira.
My name is well done.
Okay, well done. You want to tell you well done, you won yourself 20,000 naira.
With 500 naira, you can play to win big. From 120,000 naira to 190,000 naira daily on Nigeria Info. Go to oneplay.ng and play with 500 naira. And in a few seconds, your ticket is in the draw. Or dial *347*880*3#. Win daily on Nigeria Info. 50,000 naira on Morning Crossfire. 60,000 naira on WhatsApp Lagos. 20,000 naira on Sunnyside. And 60,000 naira on Game On. So Lagos, what are you waiting for? The more you play, the better your chances of winning. Remember to dial *347*880*3#. Play responsibly. Not suitable for persons under the age of 18.
Ladies and gentlemen, Football Fan Festival in Nigeria is back. It's Goal Fest 2024, featuring exhilarating games, food, comedy, live music by some of the Nigerian musician superstars, and you can watch the UEFA Champions League final on a super huge screen. Goal Fest 2024 will take place on the 1st of June at the Balmoral Convention Center, Federal Palace Hotel, Amadabella Way, Victoria Island, Lagos. Time 12 noon. Limited tickets available. Get your tickets now at www.goalfestnigeria.com
or at 267A at Timmy and Crescent, VI Lagos.
Goal Fest 2024 is powered by Femi and the Gang and Football Republic. Proudly refreshed by Pepsi.
99.3 Nigeria Info.
Your number one station for talk. Let's talk.
We're back, 99.3 Nigeria Info, the sunny side. So I have 2 minutes before the top of the hour where we get to go for the headline news. That means I'm going to give that 2 minutes to the doctor. He had a thought before the commercial break. We'll continue on the other side of the hour. So, Doc, you were speaking about palm oil.
Okay.
And he was talking about the processing. Okay, good.
Yes. Very, very questionable processing. All right. I'm going to mention 3 things. Number 1, as children, we just pick up the palm nut and eat that fleshy outer coat. That's where you have the bulk of your antioxidants, micronutrients, vitamin A and vitamin E. So just take it, just enjoy it as a fruit. That outer yellow, orange, red part.
Yeah.
Okay. Now there's actually machines to help squeeze out the oils from that part. Cold press. That's your purest, most medicinal palm oil.
Do we cold press palm oil in Nigeria?
Yes. There's about 2 centers that do it.
Oh.
We need more because each time I order, takes about a week to get my order in.
Okay. Okay.
Then you have the conventional hot pressed palm oil. I had a mentor who said to me that cold pressed palm oil was actually more popular before the arrival of the
hot pressed one.
Of the hot pressed. Hot press gives you a higher yield, yes, but in terms of its nutrient potency, cold press is the way to go. Now, in the heating process.
Okay, you know what? Hold that thought. In the heating process, we'll pick that up when we return. Lagos. You've had like 1 week in the last 2 hours play out so quickly. When we return, the conversation continues. 99.3 Nigeria Info. The headlines is next.
99.3 Nigeria Info, working to bring you up up to speed on today's events.
How do we get everybody on board? How do we convince people that COVID is real, that COVID is not a scam?
We have prominent Nigerians that have died from this COVID, and government has come out to say, yeah, that individual died from COVID. So why are people not believing that? Why would we lie?
When you just eat Gary a lot without adding other things, you can have problems with the eyes. Especially when Gary isn't properly processed.
Your number one station for talk. Let's talk.
The number one talk station of Lagos.
It's 2:00.
The headline news on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
99.3 Nigeria Info. Here are the headlines. Zone 2 Police Command parade fake medical doctor with forged Obafemi Awolowo University certificate carrying out surgeries in Ikorodu. Police begin manhunt for fleeing tricycle snatching syndicate in Lagos, while police arraign 24-year-old Abdulateef Giwa for alleged possession of locally made pistol in Ibadan. Presidency reacts to claims of conflict of interest in the ward of Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway. Federal government plans to bring down soaring costs of medicines. Central Bank of Nigeria orders all banks to impose cybersecurity levies on transactions. Central Bank of Nigeria issues July 7 deadline for point-of-sale operators to complete registration with Corporate Affairs Commission Corporation. On the foreign scene, UN humanitarians say flood killed 235 people and affected 750,000 others in Eastern Africa, while Togolese president promulgates new constitution for parliamentary system. Israel says it controls Gaza side of Rafah crossing as truce talks to resume. Hamas accepts ceasefire proposal in ongoing war with Israel. Ukrainian security service says it foiled a Russian spy agency plot to assassinate President Zelensky, and Russia's President Vladimir Putin sworn in for his 5th term in Moscow. Those are the headlines. This is still the Sunny Side with Joyce. I am Yvonne Ohaifo, and you're listening to 99.3 Nigeria Info. Stay with us.
The telenovelas of radio information.
More news,
More conversations,
more information,
more sports,
and more talk.
Nigerians station for talk.
99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
We're talking. We're 99.3. This is Nigeria Info. It's Open Thought Tuesday. My name is Joyce, and we have Dr. Patrick Ijewere, and it's so good to have him here, bring some clarity to our collective judgment or comprehension of what we think sickness is and how we define medicine. And maybe if you knew how to well define illness or sickness, you would know what medicine truly is, as against what you are told medicine is. So, Doc, you were on a thought before the commercial break, and you were speaking on hot-pressed version of palm oil, which, of course, is very common.
So the models used in hot extracting palm oil, sometimes the temperatures go so high that it causes instability in the oil.
Okay.
The temperatures can go, I'm talking about 100, 200 plus degrees.
Yeah.
In the process, you oxidize and damage a lot of the phytonutrients in the palm oil. When you have things like oxysterols, they become inflammatory in the body. You find many medical colleagues who they don't care what the oil is. Once it goes through a heating process, they write off that. They said it's not can't use it. So, to our entrepreneurs out there, start looking at
that's a market space.
Market space for cold pressed palm oil.
You remember the peanut idea I gave us last week that you were disregarding? Let's make money. Let's make money. Let's get healthy and let's make money doing it. Holla at your girl. I'll take 30%. Good.
Just to touch briefly on the bitter cola arena.
So far, I don't even know what other questions hold, but so far I've come through 2 questions that are asking. One is Michael from Ikoyi, and some other gentleman is asking about bitter cola. I used to eat it. I used to hate it. Then I lost my mom. Then I started going back to everything she taught me back in the day. And I don't know why I eat it, but Can you tell us what it is and why is it good? I mean, it's bitter. Is that a good thing?
You find folks who say the bitter, the bitter it is, the better it is for you, health-wise.
Okay.
We have created an imbalance where we are swinging so much into the sweet arena.
Okay.
We need to bring more of the bitter arena to balance.
To balance.
Bitter cola is again loaded with tons of phytonutrients. 2 areas where it helps significantly. Number 1 is the upper respiratory area. Cough, colds, catarrh, and that arena. Mucus secretion, mucus production, bitter cola is so powerful. Today it's available in capsules, it's available in cough syrups. One of my favorite bitter cola products, I will not mention the company.
Yeah.
I took to the US for the FDA to analyze and give export permission. Company got it.
Bring it back. What did you say?
There's a company here in Nigeria that produces herbs. I took 10 of their products to the US, give to the FDA for analysis to get us export clearance. One of the products was a cough syrup made from local bitter cola, ginger, bryophyllum, and honey. That product cleared FDA assessment and earned export permission.
The cough syrup is bitter cola, honey, ginger.
Bryophyllum.
And we've been buying cough pills.
Chemical cough pills. I don't have the potency next to what we have in bitter cola and ginger and honey.
I feel like an Olodo right now, for all the things that I think I know and to not know enough. Well, nice meeting you, to be honest.
God's it's a timeliness.
Someone is asking, and similar to, has a bearing on your commentary on bitter cola. He says, my nose hasn't been dry since I was a kid. And I'm 29 now. Still the same thing, always having catarrh. I don't know if it's related to sinus. What's that? What animal has a wet nose? Is it the puppies, the dogs? I know. Yeah?
Okay.
What's that?
Is
it cute?
No, it's not.
Oh.
That's just running out. In a sense, it's a body clearing out of it what does not belong within.
Okay.
We have mechanisms to take things out. Coughing, sneezing, excreta and all those things. Okay. Sinus challenges, postnasal drip, sinusitis, those are inflammatory markers. The body is speaking to us that something is going on, that there's an imbalance. Could very well be that you're putting things in the body that the body is allergic to, and you need to stop doing so. Two major things that we consume today that the body is allergic to, one is dairy products.
Okay. Let me ask you, Doc. Is it a possibility of what we're taking or what we're not taking? Because I want to share.
Both.
Both? Okay. Because I noticed that when I get a cold, years ago, I'll get a cold, and my head would want to leave my body. It's like it's having an argument. It just wants to depart. And then I started taking a cocktail of spices. So I'll blend like a cocktail of just different things. Some I know their names, others I don't. I just blend, and I would have it as tea. And I remember there was a period for 3 years straight I didn't have a cold, and I would hang out with people who had cold, and I wouldn't catch it. And then this happened for probably like a period of 8, 9, 10 years. But if I ever got a cold, it was mild. So I would have the runny nose, but my head didn't feel like it wanted to leave my body. We're not having a divorce at that point. So I figured that it was the intake of the antioxidants, particularly when the cold season is approaching. If I'm on the herbs before the cold season, I'm good. Like I'm looking at the world in pity because I know I'm not catching a cold.
Awesome.
So could his case be a case of, well, you're not taking something, like a deficiency of a sort?
That is always a part of it. He's missing things that the immune system needs to optimize their function, ranging from priming when strangers come in, system prime assesses who is this, friend or foe, and let me build up a reserve, memory, and soldiers. And next time it shows up, we deal with it immediately, and there's no larger
build-up
inflammatory response.
Okay. So now, this is for, look, I'm probably going to get to your sort of balance where you don't eat things strictly because you, as a medical practitioner, you know they're not good for you. So you have built the discipline. There's some things I still like, and I still eat them. And if I ever told you about them, you're like, oh, maybe that's not good for you as a doctor. Is it possible that? So a good example would be, if I eat granules, if I had to, I love it. But if I eat it, I break out. But if I take granules with lime, like just lime in water, I don't break out. So I'm realizing that this may be a function of an imbalance of a sort. So I could still eat the things I want to eat, but I have to balance it. I have to cancel it out. Like, you know how math works, right? Like I have to cancel it out with something else. So you can still have your guilty pleasure, but you have to cancel out the zeros. Like, come on, you kind of get the picture, right? Well, that's my vague layman way of putting it, because that's what I think I've noticed with my own body.
I like that you are going through this analysis and you're observing how your body responds.
Yeah.
Next time I come, if I can get some supply, there's a farmer out here in the southwest.
Yeah.
Who does organic groundnuts. No fertilizers, no herbicides, no pesticides. From the farm, it's sent straight to me.
Okay.
There's a place in further down, not Lekki, further down Lekki. He's a groundnut aggregator. And you go there, he tells you openly, when the groundnuts come in and they process it, they put things on the groundnut before they goes into the bottle. So if you're buying groundnut that is sold on the road in traffic in the bottle, it's not just groundnut.
Oh.
There are other chemicals in there to help preserve it and make it not
go bad. No rot.
So your body may be responding to those additives in that bottled groundnut. Whereas if you try pure organic groundnut straight from the farm, I enjoy it. No reaction. I cannot eat the groundnut bought in the stores or bought on the shelves in the glass bottles. I can't.
Oh.
Right away, I will taste
something. Okay.
So hopefully in your case, it's not the groundnut. It's things that have been done to the groundnut that the body is saying.
I'm reacting to.
Yeah.
So this gentleman, if you would say stay away from dairy?
Let him start with dairy. All forms of dairy. Whether it's the milk, whole milk, half milk.
Skimmed
milk, mayonnaise, even butter. Avoid butter also. Butter is used in several things, from the biscuits and cookies.
There are not many luxuries. Butter is just one of those little things we have left. Doctor?
After a while, when the body rebuilds,
it
will give you that resilience to even tolerate butter.
Okay. So you're saying from now, just purge your system in order to heal your body.
Allow the immune system to resurrect, to just reboot.
Please, can tissue that looks like seed in the breast cause infertility in a man? I have a big lump in my chest. My left breast. Very painful. Oh.
This is the man. If a man has a lump in his chest, he needs to go have it checked ASAP.
Particularly because it's painful, right?
It's painful. It's a lump.
No, it's a lump first, and then it's painful.
We had a case 3 years ago that was picked up by an astute EKG technician. A lump in the breast of a male that turned out to be breast cancer. So when we examine...
Isn't that a rarity for men to have breast cancer?
It's a rarity. But any man who is obese, who has large breasts, we examine them almost the same way we examine the women. Because breast cancer in a male is aggressive and quite often
terminal.
Yes, ma'am.
Men with large breasts. You know, I've never used those words in the same sentence.
We call them, its technical name is gynecomastia. Especially men who are obese have excess estrogen on board. Okay. All men and women have estrogen and testosterone. We all do.
Yeah.
Men have more testosterone, women more estrogen.
Yeah.
But men who are obese, those obese cells literally become sources of producing, we call them xenoestrogens, excess estrogens beyond the normal amount.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. So he should get it tested?
Go get checked, go get examined physically and have an ultrasound or even an MRI done.
All right. Straightforward. This one goes, Doctor, what could be the cause of consistent longer menstrual flow of about 2 weeks, sometimes more than a month? It took more than a year for my wife's menstrual cycle to return after our last baby, and ever since she's been having this repeated experience. She went for our family planning and had an implant an implanted device after giving birth. Please, what can we possibly do to normalize this?
That one, let him reach out to us.
Okay. But the problem here is the implanted device, because that looks like an obvious foreign body.
I need to be clear on certain key points.
Okay.
How long it's been going on since the last pregnancy? At what point the implant came into the picture? I need that sequence of events.
Okay, to be able to draw a better frame of reference. All right, good then. So here's Dr. That's Art Dr. Patrick Ijewere, Ijewere. All right. What's the natural way to treat sinuses? I thought you mentioned that a little.
Yes,
okay.
we did.
So it's just...
So first thing is, what is causing it? Sinusitis, inflammation. The body is simply speaking to you that something you're doing to it, something it needs, or something that is coming into the system is off alignment with your health and wellness. The first step is to figure out what is it that the body is communicating. Are there things could be your personal care products that you're using. That's on that topic. Personal care products.
Oh, really?
All these soaps that are called antibacterial soaps that have all kinds of chemicals in them. They are a source of wahala.
Oh, that's new. Okay. Doctor, ask the doctor about ADHD and speech delays and toddlers.
Connect with an awesome nutritionist.
Okay.
Yes, I'm sure you've seen your pediatrician. Good. Connect with an awesome, well-trained, certified, qualified nutritionist. Reach out to us. We handle those kind of cases. Reach out to us.
Okay. And you kind of referenced something earlier, before you had a toddler that couldn't speak and you changed his nutrition.
Within 6 months.
And he got better.
Yes.
Okay. Growing up, we were given cod liver oil by our parents, which came in yellowish transparent capsules. I don't see that anymore these days. What are the benefits of oil derived from fish? Also, is it good to be pescatarian, pescatarian? Japanese eat fish a lot. They eat it raw sometimes. Are they trying to tell us something we don't know when they eat raw fish? This is say, I eat once or twice in a day, most of the time once. Let me see. Do we really need to eat 3 times a day?
Oh my gosh, what 5 questions.
So first is asking, about the pescatarian diet.
Pescatarian diet, heavy on seafood. Just make sure you source your seafood from a reliable source. A lot of farms.
Is law school on the bridge reliable without water like that?
When we ask the sellers, they say, they're from far, then they bring them. When we were children, the fishermen, you see them pull their nets in on Bar Beach. When we were children, fishermen, we could travel to Sierra Leone, watch them cast the nets early morning, put the nets in, and you buy the fish right there from them, right at the beach. Fishermen used to fish in the lagoon. They still do. Mm-hmm. Yes, we're concerned about pollution in the lagoon today.
Yeah.
There's a lady I will connect you with. She works for the National Oceanographic Institute, and they do analysis of fish and other seafood.
Oh, great. Oh, that would be beautiful. Oh, Lagos. Fantastic.
So, fish, we prefer wild caught fish from the oceans. Farmed fish is creating some problems because of the feed that are given to this.
Now that's catfish, right?
Catfish is a major one. But recently there was an article on salmon.
Yeah, salmon. Yeah. Not just there was an article, Doc. There's been articles on that salmon. I've read like 10 already. Yeah.
An experience I had, this was while I was in the US. I would buy salmon. I enjoyed salmon. And one day they had a special fish festival, and they had the farmed salmon next to the fresh wild caught salmon. The wild caught salmon was this deep red purple color.
Yeah, almost
smaller, slimmer,
like thick pink color.
Deep. And then you had the farmed salmon that was this orangish color, fatter, a bit more with fat striations. And I picked up the little voice that said, "Read that label properly." In very small print, it said, "The color of the salmon was added to the feed."
What are you talking about?
When salmon grow up in the wild, in the natural waters, they swim in very difficult currents. So they're very muscular. And so they require a lot of iron and oxygen. So their tissue, their flesh is deep red because of the iron in there. But when salmon is farmed, there's no high currents to swim against. So they don't build those strong.
Then they feed them color?
So the color is white. And people are not going to buy a white salmon. So they give them a dye in their feed to give that orange color.
Yeah, today's show is even more interesting than the last time I had you here.
I don't want to spoil business, so
no, yo. At this point, we're either gonna live or we're gonna die. That's the game that the world has introduced. You're gonna live or you're gonna die. So we're either gonna make money and then live with the poison, or we're going to choose life. Like the game is the game, and the rules are the rules at this point.
True.
So yeah, you say you don't want to spoil business. It's like, well, we're eating death because now
yes.
we're making money, but we're eating death. Is that what we want? I mean, people may not mind, and that's okay.
That's okay, but you're aware that.
But at least we can choose. I want the privilege of choice to say, I don't want this, and I'll take that. I prefer that as against the illusion of, well, this is what you have, and you have no other choice. There's information you can use. We want to give you money. Doc, please hold your thought for a moment.
Well, not money this time around, just to remind you.
Let me remind you about the money first.
Okay, do that.
Star 347 star 880 star 3 hash. I'm giving away 20,000 before the sun sets. So good luck to you as you try.
Good luck to you as you attend Children's Day too. Yes, I'm talking to all the kids out there. Yeah, I still remember what Joyce said the last time around. Yeah, if you have the time of day for children, then definitely you should be puckering up your ear for this one, because we are getting ready to host kids from everywhere, all and sundry. I'm talking fun and excitement on Children's Day at the Fun Factory Amusement Park, where it's going to be happening. Join us on the 27th of May, Children's Day, at number 10, Lai Yusuf Crescent off Miralti Way, Lekki Phase 1. Fun matched salvo of fun games, activities, and surprises. From face painting to treasure hunts to dancing chairs, there's something for each and every one of you. Happiness is contagious, and unforgettable memories will be created. So come one, come all. Let us make this Children's Day one to remember. Fun Factory, where every child's dream comes alive, and every day is an adventure of fun.
All right. And we're back to the doctor. Doc, GMO. What can you tell us about it?
The bulk of the feed that we buy to feed the farmed fish, to buy to feed the chicken, buy to feed the other, is GMO. It comes from Canada, comes from Brazil, comes from Argentina, or the USA. It's GMO.
So we're feeding fish, chicken, cows,
turkey
with GMOs.
Yes. If it comes from Brazil, Argentina, Canada, or the USA, I'll bet you 9 out of 10 it's GMO. Corn, GMO soy, GMO alfalfa.
The last time you were here, you kind of touched on GMO slightly, and it is so I think I want you to simplify the grammar. Genetically modified. You're a pharmacist, so because I think you can speak about the seed. I want you to speak about the name of the seed, because I think there's more to the name than we really even spend time dwelling on. So what would you say about that? Genetic modification. So in your field of pharmaceutical or pharmacy, to genetically modify something is what exactly?
To introduce a gene sequence
that's foreign.
That is foreign. That comes from another species into a seed, into another species. In nature, you have the white hibiscus, red hibiscus. They're pollen. They are the same species. They will, quote unquote, mate and give you a nice pink hibiscus. Normal. The white man, black woman, mate. Normal. When you now get the genetics of the lizard, or genetics of a bacteria that doesn't occur normally inside man, because that bacteria gives off a certain chemical that pests don't like, and now force it into the corn seed, Bacillus thuringiensis. Each time you force a DNA sequence, a gene sequence into that DNA strip, you are creating an imbalance. Not only will that strip you've put in there be red to give you the bacillus toxin, the toxin, the sequence before it will also read with that strip and create its own new product. The sequence of the BT toxin and the sequence after it will also read to give you some other. So there's no perfection of science when it comes to GMO. Once you tamper with that genome sequence, you're introducing new proteins that don't occur naturally in nature. And once you consume those proteins, your body's going to say to you, hey.
And so if you consume you consume the protein, so the expression of the protein can just be about anything.
Absolutely. You can't control how the gene sequence is read.
So let's simplify this. Let's go back a little bit. If we take it back, you eat organic food. There is an expectation to the protein expression in the food. Is that a good way to put it?
Yes. To me, even take it a step further. The soil and the food came from the same. The soil and the man came from the same source.
Oh, that's pretty when you put it like that.
The soil and the man are from the same source.
So the man is eating from his source when he eats the food from the ground.
Organic food. When you now introduce the chemicals that man made in the lab,
or remove, because these days I'm reading the science literature and they're removing stuff.
Yes, many of our herbicides and pesticides are what we call chelators. They bind things out of the soil or out of the plant, to kill the weeds. And when we consume those residues, they bind the same things out of us. The minerals, popular ones are zinc, magnesium, copper, potassium.
Creating a deficiency.
Inside of the plant, inside of us.
So, if we tamper with the protein in the food, it tampers with the protein in the man, and the expression can just be anything.
Absolutely.
Including you could grow an ear in your liver, because I've seen that. You've seen those science documentaries where they tamper with genes and then they put genetics, they alter the genes, and then someone grows an ear at the back of their head.
Man is doing some very...
They grow like another eye somewhere. Another, the armpits. Like I've seen stuff. I've seen the crossbreeding of horses and cows. I don't know what the purpose is. Is this man playing God? Is that what we're trying to do?
Yeah, man. We have issues to address. We have communities to build and to normalize, and we're doing some strange science.
If you had to advise for or against GMO, what would your express words be? Wow. Eat it once a year, twice a year. Don't eat it. It's death. What would you say?
If you know, don't eat it. Don't cultivate it. Don't allow it to be cultivated near your space.
Don't allow it to be cultivated near your space because it pollinates?
Yes.
So, wait.
It's contaminant.
Then it would contaminate the other things around you.
Absolutely.
So it's not individuated. So it's if you plant a GMO corn here and you have organic tomatoes on that side,
organic corn on the other side,
and organic corn on the other, this corrupted one will corrupt the other ones.
Yes. There's lawsuits in Canada and the US where farmers who do not plant GMO corn, GMO canola, the inspectors from the private companies came around and found GMO on their farm, and they were sued on patent laws, and they lost.
That's the danger of this whole GMO thing when you say that it propagates. So if it's not so individuated, where if you plant corn, a GMO corn here, and it stays here, if it moves around to contaminate other things, then the guy who gives you the GMO corn can come claim your tomatoes and your other organic stuff, because of course it's GMO at this point.
It's GMO, and it's a patent he has. That product on your land is mine. I own the genes. I have the right. I have the universal patent rights to that offspring.
This is like what is causing a nightmare at this point. It's terrifying if it's true, and there's no reason why it's not true.
I mean, the U.S. has been in the GMO arena for almost 30 years, and doctors and people are complaining about needing the regulation. At very least, label the products GMO. Let's know that it's GMO, so I can choose to.
But they do that
in
the U.S. It's just that now they complain. Consumers are complaining that even the organic is not necessarily as organic as you would expect.
Because the FDA, as often that happens, gets played in or gets its man from the
Oh, the
interest
side.
group.
Yeah, the interest group, the
Who
lobbying group.
influences. Now, if you can say GMO is organic because of certain, they play with words in the West. The West has a notorious habit of playing with words to change definitions to suit their interest.
Okay. 99.3 Nigeria Info, the sunny side. It's 2:30 on the clock. We have 15 more minutes because I have a recorded program. I'm looking at the clock. This one goes, sir, painful urination, what solutions would you have? Orthodox or unorthodox?
First step is go get tested. Okay. Make sure it's not an infection brewing. You don't want that thing to go up into your kidneys and cause a larger problem in your bloodstream. Get tested ASAP today.
Look, I'm going to ask you a question, and I just want to say up front, I'm not going to listen to your answer if it doesn't please me. Doc, consuming eggs increases cholesterol levels. Please, I'd like to know if consuming eggs increase cholesterol levels. I love eggs. Okay, I'm waiting.
No.
Good. Okay, so let me better paraphrase that. I know it doesn't because I've read the literature. I know it doesn't. But, I was also bracing up for a disappointment. Oh, by the way, a lot of people are appreciative of the time you're spending with us, in order to bring light to what is general or common knowledge, except it's not necessarily knowledge because there's no in-depth comprehending of what they know or have been told. So once again, thank you very much for being here. Doc, I want to know if I'm doing myself a favor or harm in any way. I don't take refined sugar, bread. I don't take alcohol. You don't? I don't do sodas, red meats, and I've been doing this for years. Am I well? Any issues, sir? Anonymous? You don't do wine? So what do you think about wine? I'm a wine girl.
Wine.
I prayed about it.
Let me ask, why do people drink wine?
Okay, so I have a palate problem. My palate loves dark, rich flavors. Dry wine gives me that. Black coffee gives me that. Dark chocolate I don't like milk chocolate, dark chocolate. My palate wants some flavor, so I'm always flavor seeking, richer, darker. Like my perfumes are unisex, masculine. Yeah, I have a preference here.
So, if you're simply exploring these different flavors, tastes.
At this point, based on doctor's recommendation, maybe just a little alcohol, just a little red wine. But red wine is good, isn't it?
Red wine is said to be beneficial because of the antioxidant potency in red wine. Okay. Now, where does that come from? It comes from the grapes.
So basically, I could replace the antioxidants with Zobel at this point.
Absolutely. Or the non-alcoholic red wine.
No, why would we do wine and make it out? No, Doc, no. Okay. Wine, non-alcoholic. Someone gifted me non-alcoholic wine and I gifted it to someone. If it's wine, it's got to have a little bit of punch in it.
Small amount, the body
just
will
a
handle
little
it.
Okay. Doctor's advice. Okay, so he don't do soda, he don't do sugar, he doesn't do red meat, and he's been doing it for years.
Do you do your annual comprehensive medical checks?
So in the absence of not knowing whether you are healthy, the assumption is not enough.
No, it's not. We deal with Lagos. We deal with traffic. We deal with our colleagues in the office. We deal with lead from our cars and our generators.
Asbestos in the house.
Exactly. We deal with stress.
Please tell the federal government to subsidize food and not medicine. If we feed well, we'll have good health and we'll not need medicine. Make nutrition food affordable. This is the gentleman from Ikoyi. Thank you very much. I want to quickly go to the telephone lines. I think I can squeeze one in. I beg you in the name of all things bright and beautiful. Just ask your question. Thank you. Welcome to the show, Nigeria Info. Dr. Patrick with us this afternoon again, who was here last week, and the video is on our website. It's on YouTube. It's on Facebook. If you need that information, if you need that knowledge, if you need some clarity or bring some understanding to your judgment, you'll find that video on Nigeria Info. My name's Joyce. Hello, good afternoon to you. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon to you. Thank you very much for calling. You tell us your name and you go ahead with your question.
Yes, thank you,
Real good. Go ahead.
Okay, I just want to ask, is it good to be eating bush meat?
Pardon? Goat meat and what?
Bush meat.
Bush meat. Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Sir.
Bush meat, for the most part, is a very lean meat.
Yeah.
So if you are a meat consumer, that's a better option of meat.
Okay.
Now, there's concern every now and then about some of the things that these wild meats carry, whether it's viruses or parasites or all those things. So just make sure it is very well cooked. In fact, overcooked, safe. If you must consume bush meat.
Okay. Someone forwarded us an article by the CNN about the increase in cancer cases in young people. And the article, according to him, concluded that food is the reason young people have cancer these days.
Food is a major factor.
Food is a
and
major.
More recently, the COVID vaccination is a major factor.
I read I don't know if I should say it. Like I read an article a few days ago, and they're saying that those who got vaccinated should brace up for diseases they have no heart for.
One of those ailments has been termed turbo cancer.
Yeah, turbo cancer.
Yes.
Maybe the backiness will save us.
Amen.
Ijewere Info, the sunny side. My name's Joyce.
Hello.
Afternoon to you. Thank you very much for calling.
Joyce.
What's your question? Yes.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon to you.
Please, I want to beg you for something.
Sure.
I sent you message. You didn't see it.
No, I pardon me. I haven't probably
Please,
gotten to it yet.
you direct me to YouTube the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did not see his number there. I'll be going to his place now.
Okay. So
Please.
So you get it on Instagram. You would find a contact on Instagram.
Not they send me to where I'm not there, Joyce.
All right. Okay. I'm gonna help.
Not they send me to that place.
Relax.
Give me my number.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ijewere Info, the sunny side. Welcome to the show. My name's Joyce. What's your name?
Yeah, Joyce, good afternoon.
Afternoon to you. Thank you very much for calling.
Yeah, a very great job the doctor is doing.
Okay.
Yeah, I've touched on some of the questions I want to ask. However, there's this fruit called ogbono.
Yeah.
I've had somebody who said that he doesn't eat it, because if he does, he gets weak. And a time came when I started trying it, and I discovered that it's not weak in a negative sense, but it makes me sleep. So I don't know if the doctor knows the content it's made of.
Thank you. That's got to be good. Oh, Doc, what do you think? I think I could fancy that. Yeah.
When you eat this ogbono, how is it prepared? What is added to it? And you eat it with fufu, semo, pounded yam, akpu? Those are questions I need to know, sir.
Oh.
Again, how's the level of hydration prior to eating? These factors impact how much blood flow your stomach takes away that could sedate the brain and cause it to feel sleepy.
Eating food and feeling sleepy afterwards was my childhood. So is that a bad thing? Our diet was heavy. I think my mother made the diet heavy. So you'd eat and sleep off like you were drugged out. Is that a bad thing?
No, it's not. It's not a bad thing, especially in childhood. It's not a bad thing.
Oh.
Just make sure once they wake up.
As an adult, it's probably a bad thing because you can't think so much at this point. There's less use of your brain. Is that what happens then?
As adults, we should temper on the portions and make sure we're very well hydrated.
Okay.
At least half an hour to an hour prior to eating, and then another hour after eating.
Not when you've eaten pounded yam with a goosey man. Dog.
Before you eat, half an hour, drink a cup or 2 cups of water.
Oh, okay. I remember that.
And that improves the digestive process.
Okay, great. Kindly ask the doc, what can someone diagnosed with PCOS, hormonal imbalance, fibroids eat to conceive? Been trying to conceive.
That one needs to connect with us.
That needs to see a doctor, right? So you need to see a doctor because I guess there are questions that would need some elucidating. Ijewere Info, the sunny side. My name's Joyce.
My name is Joseph.
Good. What's your question, handsome?
Good afternoon. Please, I want to ask you a question.
Sure.
Is he going to come again?
Yeah, he will be. Back at... Yeah.
So now, here's the question I want to ask you. I want to ask, back pain. Yoruba people, they say jedi every time. Like, you understand what I'm saying, doctor? Back pain, you bend, you can't bend, you start feeling pain, and they start telling you go and take agbo jedi, all those type of things. What's the cause?
All right.
What are the things we can do?
All right. Thank you. Ooh, Doc, real quick.
One has to really explore the person's nutrition and the person's lifestyle.
Okay.
What are they doing that is causing
The
body to
pain.
give this symptom of pain and the other experiences. The body is simply speaking. You're doing something or not doing something that the body needs, and there's an imbalance. And the body is simply speaking.
Okay. So we need to figure out from the person's life what may be informing the pain. That's the only way we can answer the question.
Yes.
Someone is asking, how can we control pests on the farm if pesticides destroy good organisms in the soil? If you're listening to Nigeria Info right now, I have a doctor who used to be a farmer. He's from Benue. He'll be here next Monday. I have a doctor who used to be a farmer. He'll be on Nigeria Info next Monday. He'll be able to give answer to this question. But in the meantime, I'd like to know if you have any. You're not a farmer, so I don't suppose you would know anything about
I'm not
that.
a farmer. I would love for Dr. Amwa to really shed light.
Exactly.
On this.
You know the gentleman. Yes. So
Yes.
the farmer doctor will be here next week. He would be the best person to give answer to that. So you have to be on Nigeria Info for that one. Sir, drink Zobo morning, afternoon, and evening? That's someone's question.
That's a bit much now. How are you making your Zobo? Is it very dilute or is it concentrated? Remember, there are other things you want to drink to also balance the Zobo. There's moringa, there's turmeric, there's ginger, and there's just plain water. Zobo is awesome. Once a day is more than enough. I wouldn't go more than twice a day, but make sure you have other things that you're also drinking. Cocoa powder is a powerful anti-inflammatory, high antioxidant, anti-cancer, loads of minerals in cocoa powder. That's another awesome drink you can have, cool or warm.
Okay. So I don't have time because look at the telephone lines are ringing off the hook. I want to ask you about cooking food. My mother used to almost not cook the food. It was weird, but it was what we had to eat. And then I grew up, and now if you overcook the food, I can't eat it. So I wanted to ask you about cooking food. So there's some food I like really properly cooked. But the way we grew up, she'll cook, but she doesn't cook. She wouldn't want to overcook it. So I see the judgment in the. So what I know you don't want me to talk about steak. I'm going to talk about it. Steak, medium rare. The vegetables she doesn't even want to put it on heat. Like the vegetables she doesn't want to put it on heat. So I don't know if I can. You have an answer to that, or do we leave this for another day? The next time you're here.
Let me just touch.
Okay, please touch on it.
You want the best cooked food, the tastiest, the widest variety of cooked food is the sun-cooked food.
Like sun-dry the food?
Sun-cooked food. Ripe fruit. The vegetables, the raw food. What we call raw is sun-cooked.
Oh, okay.
After that, if you must apply heat, let it be very light heat. Some things, because of how we cook them, we overcook and destroy the nutrients in them.
Okay.
So stir-frying lightly maintains some of the micronutrients, both macro and micronutrients. The heavy cooking that we do with the oil, the water, the meat, and all of that, if you're doing that, put your veggies in at the last moment so they're still full of
and cook for
life.
how long? So my mom just puts it the last moment and turns off the gas. Yeah, that's what she just does. So you're chewing. You're probably you're chewing grass at that point. Is that cha? Okay. Don't cook the food, basically. I mean, besides the yam and the plantain and the meat, I guess particularly vegetables, right? You don't cook them too much. What about frying eggs? So
I've seen folks who
just drink it straight up, right?
Straight up.
Yeah.
The frying, the boiling.
There are people who brown eggs. What should we do to them? People who brown eggs. I think there should be a special punishment for those ones.
Tell them they must pour in a ton of onions, tomatoes, and spinach and other things
to augment for the death of the egg. All right. Okay, look, I have only 1 minute, and I can't even give it to the doctor or to you. The video is going to be on YouTube, on Facebook, or on our website, www.nigeriainfo.fm. The doctor will be back again. You best believe. By the way, the doctor offered to give me the book for free, the book of abstracts of published research findings on Nigerian medical plants and traditional medicine practices, Volume 2. The doctor gives me this book for free. Sir, thank you very much. You know I'm a book girl, right? So we'll be having conversations from this book. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Thank you so much, Doc. Today has been particularly interesting, and many people are taken by the knowledge you have shared today. And I want to say thank you for that.
And let me give thanks and gratitude for this platform and to my parents who were very firm in my upbringing, because I was quite a stubborn little child.
Yeah, you could have fallen off the cracks.
Yes.
All right, then. Thank you so much. Lagos, my work is done. I'll see you tomorrow when the sun rises. God bless you. Bye-bye.
Welcome to Business Talk on the Radio, brought to you by New Wave Tech. Today, we'll be discussing turning inflation into opportunity, scaling up in today's economy. And we have a special guest in the studio who is
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.